The story of Antoinette Congo, a fight for justice. Antoinette Congo was a woman who loved deeply, lived boldly, and had dreams bigger than the neighborhood she called home. At just 36 years old, she was the embodiment of strength and resilience, a mother to 3 beautiful children, and a friend to all who had the privilege of knowing her. Her life, full of hope and potential, was tragically cut short, but her spirit ignited something far greater than her death. It was the night of September 11th when the unimaginable happened. The residents of Chicago's Englewood neighborhood, accustomed to the city's struggles with violence, were rocked by a horror they had never witnessed before. Antoinette was found dead in a garage, her body burned and brutalized beyond recognition. The details of her death were chilling: a life taken by gunfire and a body set on fire as if she were nothing more than a discarded object. But to those who loved her, Antoinette was everything. She was a daughter, a sister, a mother. She was a woman with dreams of seeing her children grow, dreams of building a life beyond the boundaries that society often placed on her community. Antoinette had plans to open a small business, one that would allow her to support her family without relying on the streets or the struggle that so many of her peers faced. She worked tirelessly, always hopeful for a better future for her kids. That future was taken from her in the most violent, senseless way. The community's response was not just grief, but outrage. How could something so brutal happen to someone so innocent? How could the world continue to turn as if nothing had happened? There was a silence that echoed across the neighborhood, as people began to realize the weight of the tragedy. Her children, still young, were left with an unbearable burden. Her 8-year-old son, Jamal, was left with the haunting memory of hearing the gunshots that took his mother from him. Her twin daughters, Zeri and Amora, only 5, would grow up without ever truly understanding the woman who had loved them more than life itself. Antoinette's absence would be felt every day of their lives. But where there was grief, there was also a fight. Her mother, Gloria, whose strength had always been a beacon for Antoinette, now became the pillar for the children, holding them through the storm of sorrow. Gloria was determined to get justice, to make sure that her daughter's death wasn't swept under the rug like so many others. Antoinette deserved justice. She deserved to be remembered for the life she lived, not the way it was tragically taken. The community, too, rallied together. What had started as a quiet tragedy soon became a call to action. Neighbors, friends, and even strangers organized vigils, marches, and rallies, demanding that Antoinette's killer be brought to justice. They took to social media, spreading Antoinette's story far and wide. Her name was no longer just a statistic. It was a symbol of the fight for justice, for equality, for a better future. As the days turned into weeks, the story began to gain momentum. Local news outlets started covering the case, and soon national attention followed. The hashtag #JusticeForAntoinette spread across social media, with thousands of people sharing their outrage and demanding accountability. The city of Chicago, often criticized for its handling of violent crime, was forced to confront its failings. The injustice of Antoinette's death could not be ignored. Her children, though young, were never forgotten in the fight for justice. They were part of the movement, their faces often seen at rallies, their voices heard in speeches, telling the world about their mother's love, her kindness, and her dreams. In a world where violence often silences the voices of the innocent, these children became the loudest advocates for their mother's memory. Months passed, but the pain didn't fade. Antoinette's killer remained at large, but the community's resolve only grew stronger. Gloria, Antoinette's mother, fought every day to keep her daughter's memory alive. She spoke at community meetings, telling her daughter's story with a fire that could not be extinguished. They thought they could take her life, she would say, but they can never take her spirit. We will find justice, no matter how long it takes. And the world began to listen. In the midst of the pain, the community found strength in unity. Antoinette's story became more than a tragedy, it became a symbol of the resilience of mothers, daughters, and communities who refused to be